today I'm going to be talking about fatherhood. Now, fatherhood today is an emotional paradox, a very loving and responsible role that is rarely recognized as an emotional one, because men and emotions, right? So, as a species, we've all been taught to think of the term fatherhood as a role that facilitates and provides and is secondary to motherhood. But the moment I became a father, boy oh boy, what wrong a statement that is. Hi, my name is Adarsh, and as you all have already heard, I'm a radio jockey, been working in the industry for 11 years, and I also make a bit of music. But life has been a mix of both of that until the biggest project came into play 3 years ago. Fast forward to 2025, today, me and my wife Maria, we have two boys, Luca and Omi. You might know the first guy from a series of videos that I make on Instagram called Daily Observations with Luca. It is just a couple of videos of dad spending time with his son in the offline real world. For those of you who haven't heard it or seen about it, let's have a small view of what it is all about. High five. എല്ലാരും ഫിഷിംഗ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. ആ ബോട്ട്, ബിഗ് ബോട്ട് വേണ്ട. എന്താ ആണോ സർപ്രൈസാ? അമ്മയെ വരിക. എങ്ങനെ സർപ്രൈസ് ചെയ്യാ? ഫ്ലവേഴ്സ്, ലീഫ്. ഹലോ, how are you? ബൈ. ഫിഷ് ഉണ്ടോ? ഫിഷ് പേടിച്ചു പോയല്ലോ. അതാ സ്മോൾ ഫിഷൊക്കെ അതാ അതിലൂടെ പോകുന്നു. അടിയിലുണ്ട്. അതാ ഫിഷ്, അതാ ഫിഷ്, അതാ ഫിഷ് പോകുന്നു. ഉണ്ട്, അതാ സ്മോൾ ഫിഷ് ഉണ്ട്. പോയി കണ്ടോ ഫിഷിനെ? അതാ അതാ കുറേ ഫിഷ്. അതാ ലോട്ട്സ് ഓഫ് ഫിഷ്. യാ, നോ പ്ലക്ക്. നോ. യാ, അതെടുത്തോ. So yeah, that's pretty much what this whole series is all about. It's basically me as a dad spending and candidly capturing a lot of the moments of my son growing up and the way he interacts, expresses, and learns with his surroundings. Now, the main thing is, me and my wife, we were very particular about the term called offline exposure. Now, most of us, when we grew up, we had a lot of offline exposure, and then today we are all online. Kids today are born into the online world, and I feel that sort of kills the whole joy of growing up, because this whole series is me spending time with my son. We hit the parks a lot, we go for walks a lot, we learn to cycle, we learn to dance, we interact with a lot of animals, we get caught in the rain, we go shopping, we go buying groceries, vegetables, we even attend a lot of festivals. So the whole idea is, Daily Observations of Luca might be an online product, but the core of it is very offline. And I feel that is very important. I might take up the term offline again and again, because today, a lot of kids experience a lot of new things for the first time online. Now, the problem with that, let me give you an example. I take Luca to the dog park in Kochi every Sundays, where there's a lot of dogs, pet parents. And the whole expression or the whole experience for him is that when you see a dog, he is excited, but he also has a sense of fear that comes in him when you see a dog, big dog, probably running towards you. You don't get that online. Kids, when you see things online, they're just going to double tap it and go to the next reel. So I feel having an exposure to all kinds of emotions come with offline interactions with the environment. Now, today, as we all know, we're all surrounded by screens. There are two screens right in front of me. So kids, I feel, get, super addicted to screens nowadays, and we as a generation are to be blamed for that. You see kids in restaurants looking at screens, kids in hospitals looking at screens. You see kids in moving trains and cars, even small kids, you see them in a trolley or a pram looking at screens. And we've gotten them addicted to it because it is convenient for us, because once they are on it, we can do whatever we want. Now, the one thing that I pat myself on the back is the fact that for the last 6 months, Luca, the guy you see over here, has not asked for screen time, nor does he ask for our smartphones. And it's not that we're strict and we tell him, no, you can't use it. He simply doesn't ask for it. And I think a big factor behind that is probably what you see over here. Give them a lot of offline exposure. It's not that they like screens more than the outside world, it's that we don't give them the outside world. You can't expect children to go outside and play. We as parents have to show them that it is exciting to go outside. You have to run, get wet in the rain, play around. Give them tasks and challenges so that they feel like, oh, okay, this looks fun. So that, I feel, is one thing that we need to focus on. Now, in my Instagram, I get a lot of DMs from people, really, really sweet messages. Like a lady recently messaged saying she wants to learn riding the cycle, but her parents discouraged her because she fell a couple of times. But watching Luca's videos and how I've been trying to teach him cycling, like he falls a couple of times, and you say it's a normal thing, we all fall. And that has actually led her to start learning to cycle again. So a lot of beautiful emotions come into my DMs. But the most common thing being, both men and women tell me that after watching Luca's videos, man, I want to be a dad. I want to be a mother. I want to have kids. And to all of them, the first thing I tell is, please do not make this video the reason for you to have kids. Because what you see in this series is just 5% of parenting. The rest, 95%, is beyond. Because to be honest, being a father, fatherhood has been the most emotionally transformative journey for me. It is very tough. According to me, it is the most challenging thing about masculinity. Not what you see on Instagram, Sigma life, alpha males. Bro, you have no idea. Fatherhood is way more challenging. There is a lot of sacrifice, a lot of patience, and a lot of unlearning that you have to do. 3 things men generally hate to deal with. So what people really need to understand, especially the men, when you get into fatherhood. Now, I've just been a father for 3 years. I'm sure there are people in the audience who've been a father for more than that. So I'm not one to advise, but modern parenting seems to be a very different aspect, because there is a whole shift in the parenting dynamics. Today, parenting is no more patriarchal. It is a partnership, and so it should be, because both parents are working, everyone's got equal responsibilities. So it's not that you can just take the good parts of parenting and leave the rest to your partner. So it is a partnership. But the problem is, society still hasn't joined or got onto the bandwagon. They still live in the age-old patriarchal sense, and thus infrastructure has been laid conveniently in a very patriarchal way. So what men today need to understand is parenting, fatherhood is a very challenging role. A few things that I would always say is weekends are non-existent, right? You don't have Friday nights, no more Saturday nights, no more Sunday afternoons. Forget your biological clock. That little toddler running around is your alarm clock. They decide your time. So it is very important to set a routine for yourself so that you're able to do the things that you love and also be there for your child. Work-life balance. For generations, women had to, give up their career to be able to, look after the kids. And men just, we just went ahead with our jobs and our life. It is no more the case. Both parents are working now, because that's the only way you can run a family. And because of that, as men, we need to figure how to maintain that work-life balance. You need to be there at work, and you need to be physically present for your children as well. Another very important aspect, I would say, is fitness. Not that you need to be, a super fit guy. If you are, the best. That's an amazing thing. But you have to be really active to be a hands-on father today, because your child is always on cardio mode. They're just going to be very, very active. And for you to be there and give them the offline time and be there for them, you really need to be active, both physically and mentally. You need to find space to exercise when you can. Be generally very active. Because the moment you become lethargic, your kid is going to be lethargic. So this is exactly why society has celebrated motherhood. Because mothers have perfected the art of parenting through centuries. And if fathers, we as fathers, feel like we need the recognition, we need Father's Day, we really need to put the work for it. So the biggest problem here for us stems from us and the way society has molded us, right? Because women, if you've noticed, when they get into a circle or get into a discussion among other mothers and women, they talk a lot about parenting, right? They talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly aspects of parenting. So when a woman becomes a mother, she already has some sort of knowledge about parenting. Women create collective knowledge about parenting. Imagine a man who suddenly becomes a dad. It's like me walking into a new language class. You have no idea what to expect. And that's because we do not have collective knowledge about parenting. When have you seen a bunch of men sitting together and discussing about, hey, okay, my son did this and that? No, you never hear that, right? Because men talk about everything else other than parenting. Because for men, being vulnerable, showing your vulnerability is not something that suits your manliness or masculinity. Boys don't talk like that. Let's take the case of postpartum depression. Women go through postpartum depression, but we need to understand that men or fathers are also a big aspect of it. You are going to feel like the worst father in the world, the worst partner in the world when your wife or your partner goes through postpartum depression. But a lot of men don't understand that they are feeling left out and they don't know about it. Imagine we had such collective information and discussions with other men so that when a new father is going through, or their wife is going through postpartum depression, if there were other men to tell them, bro, this is something that happens to all women. Women need to go through it. There's a lot of hormonal change, a lot of biological change. So this is the time you really need to invest for her. You might not feel it back, but you need to give whatever you can for her. Give that time, give them the space. This is the information that we're lacking from other men. So now, once we do this, once men have this whole cultural or change that we bring, men talking about parenting more open sessions like I'm having right now with you people, there will soon be a cultural shift. Because right now, there is no cultural shift. It is not complete. Let me give you 3 examples. 1, paternity leaves. How many of you have heard of paternity leaves? It's either non-existent or a joke, because most people probably, some companies might give you 2 weeks of paternity leaves. What companies need to understand that today we don't have a village to look after a child like we used to in the olden ages. Today it's a very small family setup. But what the management from a lot of companies think, which is mostly again run by a lot of men from an older generation, I'm not bashing anyone, but the thing is they're from a different generation of parenting. So what they believe is an employee's wife has just gotten pregnant. She's going to look after the kid. Her mom is going to look after the kid. My mom is going to look after the kid. So why do I need any paternity leave? So that is the thought process. So we need companies to understand that men need to be there for their partners because it is a very vulnerable time for your partner as well. So the man has to be completely there, invest your time, and what do you say? Like, you're going to go through a lot of mental issues, a lot of physical difficulties as well. You want to lose on sleep. So you can't expect us to put 100% at work as well. So we need paternity leaves. It's about time we have that. Another thing is, when I go to a lot of public spaces, sometimes I take, children along with me, and if you've noticed, diaper changing stations, most of them are inside the women's washroom. So what do I do as a man if I have to take my child and he needs to change his diaper? There is no space. There are places which is in a common space, but most of you see these diaper changing rooms are inside the women's washroom. Now that is the problem. We need society to help us men help our partners as well, because society thinks, mothers are going to change diapers, so we might as well put it in the washroom. Men don't do that, but fatherhood is changing. Another example that I would like to focus on is very recently my son Luca fell sick, and we were in the pediatric ICU because he had a little bit of wheezing and just to be in observation. And the moment, this is 3 a.m. in the night, by the way, and the moment I walk in with him into the ICU, the nurse comes to me and said, "Where's the mother?" And I'm like, "The mother has a 1-month-old with her right now, and she's feeding him at home." She said, "Fathers cannot stay with children inside the ICU because there are a lot of other mothers. Only mothers are allowed inside the ICU to stay with the children." So we literally had to call our nanny to come 3 a.m. and stay with him while I was sleeping outside on a bench. So you do understand the changes we need to bring at corporate levels, at hospitality levels. Whenever people make decisions in policy or infrastructure, please take into consideration that today's parenting is very different. Men also are active, hands-on parents, and we need to have some sort of a help from the society so that we can embrace fatherhood and help with motherhood, and that's the whole point of it. There is glimpse of change, though, in places like New York City and all of that. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of other places as well, but in New York, they have a group called NYC Dads. It's a bunch of dads. Suppose you're a dad and you have a 6-month-old kid, and you can join a group with dads of children in the same age. So as your child grows, the group is filled with dads of the same, life situations. So you can ask questions, forum discussions, what is good, play dates, what new activities work, even thrift. Some dads may not need certain things and they can give it to you for you to use. And they even meet on every Sundays because if you've not noticed, once you're a dad, you can no longer really socialize with your friends who don't have kids because your routine is very different. So it's very important we have such societies, not just in New York City, but in Kerala as well, so that we can bring certain changes for the dads and embrace fatherhood as well. So the bottom line is, hands-on dads can really shape the next generation of men. Because face it, we have a very bad reputation. Men have a very bad reputation. So let's no more create situations where we keep on saying not all men, but in fact, create good men. Not alpha males or sigma males, but let's create good men. And that requires a lot of hands-on parenting. Good parents, good dads can create other good men. Fatherhood isn't just helping with parenting, but it is parenting. Thank you.